What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great Tuesday. We're going to break down what looks to really be like a tornado outbreak, severe weather outbreak to our western areas of the deep south like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, maybe areas of Tennessee for sure, Arkansas. So we're going to break this down because this looks significant. Potentially, I don't like to compare and contrast one severe weather outbreak to another, but this looks to maybe possibly be a little bit different of a beast than the one last week for the same areas, maybe a tick further west as far as the impacts. But this looks very impactful. It looks like a very big deal. And this time it looks to be more focused on Mississippi, but Alabama still certainly will have impacts. So we're going to talk about what we're seeing now because we're in range of the HRRR model now. We're right at the tail end of it. We're starting to see what's starting to develop, so there's a lot more information to take in and to talk about. So we're going to break all that down. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. I love talking weather. I break down weather here in the eastern U.S. and talk weather, basically major weather events anywhere, but mainly focus on the eastern U.S. So definitely consider subscribing, like the video if you like it. It's much appreciated, guys. You help me live out a mini dream of mine by talking weather to an audience. So thank y'all. Also, if there's anything that I can pray about, drop it in the comments and let other people pray for you. I try to use my platform as a way to glorify God and for others to pray for you. Prayer is very powerful for what I believe. So definitely do that. I would love an opportunity to throw you my prayers tonight. So let's talk about the weather. So Storm Prediction Center, we're already in enhanced. This kind of reminds me of this of the last event of how high of a risk they're already throwing at a decently long-term range, meaning at day 3 they're already showing an enhanced risk for a huge chunk of Mississippi, parts of Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama. So they're throwing warning signs that, hey, this is going to be a big deal. One thing I do want to note is there's a solid chance this will be upgraded to a moderate risk as we wake up in the morning. So we're going to see what happens with that, if that'll occur. I don't know how big the moderate risk will be, but if you are not familiar with the Outlook legend, you basically got level 1 through 5. You got marginal, which is 1, slight, which is 2 in the yellow, 3 enhanced, which is orange, 4 moderate, which is red, 5 pink, purple, whatever you want to call it, which is what we had last week. Will we have another high risk? I'm not sure. I'm not here to really talk about the risk levels, but I do think this is going to be another scenario where a lot of people will be out of school again. And what I'm really worried about, and I'll briefly talk on this, is especially here in the Carolinas. They canceled school for a lot of people in the Carolinas, and a lot of people didn't get a drop of rain, including my area here in Columbia, South Carolina. We didn't get a drop of rain. So there's a lot of the public, talking the talk, and we shouldn't cancel school. We didn't even get a drop of rain. You never know when your house is definitely going to get hit by something, a tornado. You just never know if it's going to be your house. So it's better safe than sorry in these situations when it comes to these kids, guys. It really is. So don't forget that. So probability, a 30% chance in this huge range of some kind of severe weather, hail, tornadoes, heavy rain, strong winds, whatever it may be. This is a significant threat. So when we get into tomorrow, we're going to start to see the potential chances of a tornado. It'll start to break down individual threats a little bit more in this range. But this is a big deal. You're already at the enhanced at day 3. We're getting into day 2 tomorrow, and we'll see if it upgrades. I really think it will. So about 5,000 feet in the air, you have winds that are just screaming. So screaming as in they're at 60, 70 knots. They're moving very fast. And what you got going on here is you got a low-level jet that's firing up. You get into Wednesday. You're getting to Thursday. And this is the HRRR model run, by the way, guys. And the system really starts to dig, and you get a low-level jet that starts to fire up, and you get winds at 60 to 70 knots. So basically, you got a cold front digging right here, and winds are coming in from this way, and you've got winds screaming out the south, out the Gulf. And basically, winds are moving 2 different directions. So they're doing like this. So it causes a spin in the atmosphere, which you call shear. And that helps to potentially produce tornadic storms, supercells, a spin in the atmosphere. So that low-level jet gets kicking, especially across Louisiana and Mississippi, and it promotes a tornado threat. Especially an HRRR model goes out to about early Thursday afternoon. So But the HRRR model is definitely a big-time model when it comes to severe weather setups. Now, it can be off, But when you're able to see individual storms, which I'm about to show you here in a few frames, and definitely stay tuned. Stay tuned in this video. If you cut it off, you really want to know what the dynamics that go into making this event, who's going to get the worst weather. So stay with me, guys. I know this is going to be a longer video, but so another component you need is higher dew points. So you need the moist flow, you need the moist air. Well, as you're getting going into Thursday, check out, you already got some decently high dew points into the Gulf. But check out as the cold front gets moving, you know, there's more stable dry air here in Texas. And look at the dew points that are surging ahead of the front into the 70s. I know when I was in Alabama, you had a lot of areas of dew points in the upper 60s. I didn't see a whole lot of 70s, but dew points in the 70s, all deep into Mississippi, almost all the way up in Tennessee. So you're going to have plenty of moisture, humid air. This moist sector is going to build here, the warm sector, and it's just going to potentially be pretty nasty. You're going to have a moist flow, ample moist air. So another component here is CAPE. And CAPE is convective energy. It basically is a component you need for severe weather. It's another thermodynamic you need. Now check it here. You can it even looks like the moist sector here, the warm sector. You got the cold front here. You got more stable air up top because it's just more north, and you have CAPE values of over 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's ample enough for definitely storms, and it builds even more as you get into Thursday afternoon. You start to push values of 3,000 in CAPE. That's significant. It's plenty of energy to fire up thunderstorm activity. Now, one thing I do want to mention, and I'm going to talk briefly on this, is there might be some time frames where there's no cap, meaning basically there's nothing in the atmosphere stopping from thunderstorms to explode. So if you get a lot of convection, it's going to become messy. So that's, you know, for storm chasers, that's bad. But at this point, we're not talking about that. But it could potentially get bad for folks who are really can't see tornadoes, because if you get a lot of convection, you get a lot of rain. Tornadoes could potentially be rain wrapped, and yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into that. But no cap basically means that you get a ton of convection. So if you get a ton of convection, you're going to get a lot of energy and a lot of storms just all around each other. So you got to watch out for that. So we go to the next frame here, and this is the supercell composite parameter. You get going in time, what a supercell is, it's a rotating thunderstorm. So a rotating thunderstorm, obviously, you hear it, basically that is a thunderstorm that could produce a tornado. So you get going, and this parameter starts to maximize as we're getting into right here. You're getting values of over 30 on this scale on weather models. This is much higher than what I saw on basically the event beforehand. If y'all hear my kids in the background, I apologize. They're getting in a bath in the other room, so I do have kids. So check it out here. You have values here in purple, and I didn't see that in the last event. This is a strong signal that you're going to have supercells, tornadic storms that are rotating. Strong signal here in Mississippi, almost the entire state of Mississippi. That is a huge red flag for we're going to have bad storms. So you look at the significant tornado parameter. Check this out. I mean, this thing goes crazy here at the end of the run, and it goes all the way out to early Thursday afternoon. It starts to show torque on values of 7 to 8. This is a big signal that there is going to be some tornadoes with these storms. There's definitely going to be tornadoes in Mississippi, especially as we get into Thursday. This could really be a dangerous event. Some pretty high values right there. So we look at the next frame right here, and you look at the helicity swaths. So basically this is trying to pinpoint the potential of where a spin-up could occur in the storm. It's trying to show basically rotation. So you get through the early morning convection, and then you get into the afternoon, and you're starting to see maximization here, if that's even a word, into Mississippi, and you're starting to see it's trying to show you where paths of potentially tornadoes could be in Mississippi, and this will begin to overspread lower Mississippi too. So you look at the radar. So you hear all that. What's the radar look like? So the HRRR model goes out to 18Z Thursday, which is early afternoon. So check it out here. This is the last frame of the HRRR model. Check out these storms right here. They don't have much of a hook to them, but check out that. That has a hook near Tupelo, Mississippi. Jackson, this storm has a hook to it. You just have to watch out for these hook echoes. When you see a hook in the storm, that has the potential to produce a tornado. Just off bird's eye view when you're looking at a radar. Without looking at any kind of other dynamics on a radar scope or whatever kind of radar you have. Look for the hook on the storm on a radar. If you see that hook, you know that's probably might have some rotation in the storm, might have a tornado on the ground, but these storms are just starting to develop and getting going here in Mississippi as we get into early afternoon across Mississippi, Louisiana, and it's really starting to become a dangerous situation as you're getting later in the Thursday afternoon. So what we're looking at here now is the NAM. So the NAM goes much further out. It goes up to 60 hours. And check it out here. You know, the NAM's a little different. The NAM, it almost goes linear right here. And linear as in it turns into a quick line of storms. You have some individual cells that definitely fire up. And that's what concerns me, is the potential for these storms to have rotating storms in a line of storms. So normally they're moving quicker. Normally they're a little bit more dangerous because it'll just be like a line of storms but with a quick spin up in it. So we're going to see how that develops, how that's going to develop. But you know, this thing is going to kind of fizzle out, and as it gets into the Carolinas, it's going to be a little bit different. The Carolinas aren't going to be really affected by this much. Maybe some storms as we're getting into Friday, but the way this system sets up, it really doesn't affect the Carolinas near as much as the last one did. But you look at the significant tornado parameter off the NAM, and it's very high too. It goes through almost the entire event and maximizes at values of 7 and 8. The Toricon here, and so it's pretty significant. It's a little bit more east than the HRRR model as far as who's going to get hit the hardest, but the threat's still there. One thing I want to talk about that really isn't getting talked about as much as it probably should is the potential rainfall of this. I think you're going to have an opportunity for some real messy convection, meaning you're going to have a lot of convection, basically a lot of storms potentially, and going over the same areas. So this is all the way through late Friday night. The potential for a half a foot of rain here in southern areas of Mississippi off the EPS ensembles here. Several inches of rain. I mean, this isn't snow. This is just pure rain. And even areas where the tornado threats are going to be the worst, a few inches of rain. So the potential for localized flooding is definitely there for these areas into the deep south. So watch out for the flooding part of this, because it's not going to get tall. It's going to be overshadowed by the tornado threat. But the flooding threat is a big deal too. So that's all I got, guys. I will have an extensive breakdown tomorrow when all the models are completely in range the day before the event. But that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a great night.